Good evening, fellow Hoosiers. Uh, at approximately 1 hour ago, Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb joined the members of the Indiana General Assembly at the State House and broadcast to the entire state of Indiana uh, one of the most disturbing State of the State addresses that I have seen. If I had to sum it up in short order, I would say that the governor of the state of Indiana at 7 p.m. Eastern Time engaged in the most uh, self grandizing opportunity to brag about taking your money and spending it, and then told you how he's going to continue to spend your money. The governor is so pleased with himself that he made it a point to tell you that the state of Indiana is enjoying record revenue and record reserves. Now, what that actually means is that the state of Indiana took a record amount of your money out of your paychecks and your pocket and your bank account and is holding on to a record amount of it that it didn't need to do its job. President Calvin Coolidge would call that legalized robbery, because Calvin Coolidge said that when you collect more taxes than you need, it's legalized robbery. So at 7 p.m. Eastern Time this evening, Governor Eric Holcomb stood in front of the state of Indiana and said, "We stole your money and we're going to keep it. Oh, we by law have to send you back $100 and some of it, and you should be tickled to death to get that." Well, I'm sorry, but that's not right. It's just not right, because you earned that money and you need that money. You need that money more than the state of Indiana, because if you listened to the governor tonight, or if you go back and read the transcript of his speech later on, what you'll find is that the state of Indiana spends a lot of your money on stuff that really isn't government's job. For example, the governor made it a point to let us know that we don't do a very good job of managing our own health. So he's going to invest, which is a politician's word for spend, your money to help you do a better job of managing your health, not government's job. He also wants you to know that he has, through the Indiana Economic Development Commission, done a lot to bring new corporations to the state of Indiana. And he is so intent on not only rewarding them, but enticing more corporations to the state of Indiana, that he's proposing a 30% decrease in their personal property taxes, corporate property taxes, personal property. Now, he has no proposal to bring relief to senior citizens who have paid on their mortgages and paid their property taxes for decades and who now live on a fixed income, but their property taxes continue to go up because assessments are levied every year and property values are increased so that property taxes will increase. No, he has no interest in helping our senior citizens. He has no interest in helping the average Hoosier homeowner, but he certainly will cut the taxes of corporations who have come to Indiana and who will make donations, corporate donations, to the Indiana Republican Party. So I just want to make it a clear point that what we heard was very simple. The governor of the state of Indiana is very proud of the fact that he and his government revenue collection agency was able to take record amounts of your money out of your hands and away from your ability to decide how it's spent. And not only did they spend record amounts of your money, but they also have a record amount of it left over. And by state statute, they have to send some of it back to you, but they're going to keep as much of it as they can. And then they're going to take some more from you next year. Or pardon me, this year in 2022. So I just want to make it very clear to folks. What you heard tonight was a lot of bragging. Look what a great job we've done. Taking your money, spending it the way we see fit. And here's my plan for just doing some more of the same. We're going to tell you what you need to do around your health and safety. He took the time to encourage people to get vaccinated, a vaccine that's been around for about, let's say, 2 years, year and a half. Please go get vaccinated. Yet he still states that he will not support medical cannabis because not enough research has been done on it, even though people have been researching cannabis for decades. We have a tremendous opportunity in front of us in 2022. He did not mention trying to get constitutional carry passed in Indiana because it's not on his radar. He doesn't care whether you have your rights protected by state government or not. As a matter of fact, he has stated in the past that he doesn't want your individual rights protected. He wants to do whatever the lobbyists are in favor of. Yes, he'll vote or he'll support whatever he's told to support, but not by you, the voter. No mention of constitutional carry. No interest in helping the small business owner who was damaged by his emergency declarations. No, in his view, Indiana's doing great. We're all Indiana strong. That's the term he used. Let me tell you something, folks. There are millions of Hoosiers who would not agree with the governor's assessment of our economy or of their personal situation. And I ask you, how many of us in the state of Indiana today are better off than we were 5 years ago? How many of us have suffered at the hands of the decisions made by Governor Holcomb, the Indiana General Assembly, which is a Republican supermajority, Todd Houston, the Speaker of the House of Representatives in the state of Indiana General Assembly, and Roderick Bray, the President pro tem of the Senate, who single-handedly last year killed constitutional carry in the state of Indiana. Friends, fellow Hoosiers, if you listened to Governor Holcomb this evening, or you read the transcript of his speech, and it doesn't make your stomach turn, then I encourage you to reevaluate what you believe our society is supposed to be based upon. I believe we live in a society that was intended to be a liberty-based society where we are individually sovereign individuals endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness as defined by us, not the government. But that is not what we have in the state of Indiana. And yes, we may be in a better situation than our neighbors to the west in Illinois. But we are not supposed to live in a society where we go, well, you know what? We really don't have the liberties and freedoms that we are supposed to have, but boy, it could be a lot worse. Yes, it could be a lot worse. And if we do nothing, it will be a lot worse. Ladies and gentlemen, I heard a speech about big government, more spending, more social programs. I'm sorry. When the governor of the state of Indiana stands up and says, we need to provide more free schooling for people who will take the jobs we want them to take, I consider that a problem. You see, I don't want government telling me that they'll pay for my education as long as I go and get the education they tell me to get and then go work for one of the corporations they tell me to work for. That's not the kind of liberty-based society I want to live in. You see, I believe that government's job is to protect my unalienable rights and nothing else. Government is supposed to protect my ability to do what I choose to do and pursue my destiny, even if somebody else thinks it's a stupid idea or that I'm endangering myself. It is not your decision whether someone else is making the right decision or not. That is not the purpose of government, and it is not society's responsibility to determine whether someone is making the right choices or not. You see, I hear people talk about our democracy all the time. We don't live in a democracy. At least we're not supposed to live in a democracy. We're supposed to live in a constitutional republic that limits government's influence and interference in our individually sovereign lives. A democracy, the majority tells the minority what to do. In a constitutional republic that limits government's interference in your life, government keeps everybody else out of your business. And we elect representatives to make sure that happens. Somewhere along the line, we lost it. We flat out got off track. We need to get back on track. And we need to understand that in 2022, there are 100 state representatives up for re-election, and there are 25 state senators. And if they won't pull their collective heads out of where they currently have their collective heads, we need to vote them out and vote all new people in. People who understand what liberty is about, what government's role is supposed to be, and will stick to the plan. That is what we need in the state of Indiana. We need to shore up our election integrity in Indiana. And the only way we'll do that is to make sure that every vote is recorded on a piece of paper, that a paper ballot is used to permanently record every vote in the state of Indiana, and every voter gets a copy of their vote, a receipt of that vote. And when the vote is done, an audit is accomplished before the vote is ever certified. And there's only one candidate for Secretary of State who is focused on those three items, and that's Jeff Maurer, the Libertarian candidate, or he is the current candidate to get the Libertarian nomination. Jeff Maurer is a friend of mine. I support him in his run for Secretary of State, and I hope you will too, because we need change in the state of Indiana. And folks, if you keep on doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. It's time we do different so that we can get different. And if we keep letting people use the excuse that, oh, if you don't vote for a Republican, you'll get a Democrat. Well, if you didn't see the Democrat standing up there talking about big government spending tonight, please go back and watch it. Because if you close your eyes, it sounded like a Democrat to me. It sounded like a big government. Let me take your money and I'll go spend it the way I want to. Folks, we need criminal justice reform in Indiana. We need cannabis reform in Indiana. We need tax reform in Indiana. We just need to reform government in Indiana, and 2022 is the year we can do it. That's all I've got to say for this evening. I appreciate you taking the time to watch, and just please remember, government is not designed to tell you what to do. Government is designed for you to tell it what it's supposed to do. And then for you to make sure that it's held accountable, that it doesn't do anything it's not supposed to do. And it's time to hold government in the state of Indiana accountable. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your evening, and we'll see you again soon.